Okay. We have a basic table in the master. Today, the topics that we are going to discuss are about output parameters that we like kind of talked in middle yesterday, and we'll be continuing with a few of the other topics which are like part of SQL stored procedures, which are control flow statements, begin and if else, while and break, continue, and the concept about cursor and about error handling in the SQL. How do we do that, and how do we actually work on dynamic SQL? These things we'll discuss today. So just gonna create a new procedure with output parameter. So the name is get emp details, which takes employee ID as parameter, which is of the data type, and another one name, which is of varchar, and it is our output parameter. Okay. What I'm gonna return is I'm gonna like set the name of an employee, which is this ID is being passed. So for that, I would be doing select em name from employee, which is on my table. Spelling. Where I in varchar you want to mention the number values, is it? I didn't get the question properly.
Sir, in varchar we not given a value, number of values. Varchar output.
Yeah, just a varchar. We did not give any values so far. It is just output parameter for the name, and for ID it is an integer parameter. Is that your question, Dekishore? Okay, no problem. Let me know if my screen goes off for some time or any of that search. Okay, let me execute this. This is just a simple procedure, which actually takes employee ID as a parameter and returns the name, for which I'm gonna execute like with the same name with exec command and followed by the employee ID, which is 1. Let's execute this. It says @name is not specified. So for that, whenever you're working in a real time, you just get that output parameter directly from the caller function. But here, when you are working with SQL, so for that, we just need to pass a parameter to get the details from. And for that, I'm gonna declare one temporary variable. Declare add read temp, which is of varchar, and I'm gonna pass that temp variable. Let's try executing this. It says name A. What I did actually is that I've just created a small procedure without any output parameter being displayed to or you called the output window. What if like the what do you call the theme of the output parameter is to get the data from procedure as in of uh, let's say to the messages window. So for that, we did not specify anything as in such. So for that, what we should be doing is that we should set a particular value to the particular output parameter. Then only it can just show, what do you call it, that particular data or the value on the output window. So for that, we should be setting some particular value to that particular output parameter and select that output parameter to display onto the output window. That we will be doing now. And we have multiple system variables, which actually starts with @, both at two @symbols. We call it system variables. We have like multiple of many of those system variables that we will discuss. One of them being @row count. If you have noticed yesterday, it's just a variable, Anil. Temp is just a variable I've created with declare statement. So yesterday we discussed about, sorry, in the before session, we discussed about creating variables. Okay. Is my screen visible or just what do you call this SSMS or any other screens? Just drop in a message. It should be good now, Jakishore. Internet is stable and mic is very nearby. Okay. I'm going to alter my procedure. So and I'm going to execute this particular statement. So it says A, and it says only one row affected. This particular one row affected is there, no? What it says is just one. So this can be this we can also get from system variables, which is f at the rate row count. Here, what I've done in my stored procedure is that, hope it will be visible now. I've just declared one output parameter which is of name, and I have set some value to my output parameter name. But I have never shown that particular state value of the output parameter anywhere in my program. So for that, I can do select at the rate name, which is actually the name of employee, and I would do a print. That's okay. And let's try executing it again. See, the first select statement that is here, select name from employee, that actually came up with a name column, which is this, and this setting value does not affect anything, and select name at the rate name. That actually directly brought up my variable, which is of A. And with the print name, I got in here. And I want to show you that one more thing. Select at the rate row count. So how many rows have been affected throughout my execution of my program? That can be like put up the output window. And this as name from output parameter. Pardon. This is first select statement and the number of output parameters and then the row count, which actually gave us a 0. So that says the number of rows affected in the database are like literally 0. So this is what about the row count and as well as output parameter and how we get it and how we set the values to a particular output parameter. So we define in our procedure a parameter as an output parameter with a keyword called output after this data type. And we set some value to our output parameter as in here. Select at name, that which is equals to name from employee table where ID is matching. And this is directly to display onto output window, and print at the name is to display it into a messages window. So this is how we use output parameters. And I have one more thing listed for you today. Here we completed with like input parameters and basic creation of SQL procedure and as well as variables and as well as output parameters. So, and rest of the things, let's say we have begin and end that I've given as a sample in here, begin and end. This is to mention statement block beginning and ending in our stored procedure. One moment, let me check on my the screen if it is coming properly or not. Meanwhile, if there is any doubt or any of the other things that you wanted to discuss or any of the queries, you can put it on. Jagdishwar, which one you are talking about?
About this topic.
Did you drop in a message, the topic name? Or just the output parameters that we are continuing actually in previous minutes? Just unmute and speak of which is the topic. I'm not very clear with your question. Okay, with the procedure. So creation of the procedures in temporary table. We create temporary tables is in the procedure, but we don't write store procedures or anything in temporary tables. You might be like we can use temporary tables inside the procedures, but the vice versa option, I don't think it is gonna work. And for your clarification, Jagdishwar, we create procedure with a create and followed by procedure keyword and followed by procedure name. Yes, Mangat, we'll discuss interview questions. And we give parameter and its data type. And same way, multiple parameters and data types, and we give as keyword, and we do begin. Last we do add. So this is a basic procedure, and in the middle that any number of statements that we can add. This is about like basic structure of procedure, and we give output as in here after the variable, after the parameter and its data type. So that mentions this particular parameter as an output parameter. For that, we should be setting some value. So that is this particular statement. And if we want to display that particular value onto the output window, this is how we do it. And if you want to put it onto the messages window, this is how we do it. Print as written. for any of the row counts, like this are a bit of like very much defined system variables that we will discuss in the later session. I'll keep all the miscellaneous things in one go. And we discussed about control flow statements now. Begin and end, you know that. Like whenever we write a set of transaction related or transact SQL statements together, that we'll put in the begin and end blocks. And now we'll discuss about the if and else control flow statements in our session now. So if and else, what are actually these? So there could be a condition. Last time when we discussed about a thing, which actually for the student table, who's to get all the student details, whose age is greater than 18. So that is where the condition we mentioned that age should be greater than 18. For that, we can actually get the details from the table with a parameter being passed, and that parameter can be checked with the where class saying where age is equal age greater than 18 or something like that. And what if there is certain things or certain operations to perform if the age is greater than 18? Like let's print that the student is now eligible to get an note. Eligible to get a note. So with that, how we actually do that is if else. So we say if condition begin and end, else this is how it works. So within the if condition, if this condition returns a Boolean true value, then the procedure or the control will get into this begin and end. Like the statements will be executed, which are like blocked under begin and end of the if statement. If it is not true, it will go and get in the else statement. For to demonstrate that quite a bit easily, we'll do one basic SQL statement. Let's say declare one temporary variable. Let me take it as age, which I mention it as like some 18. Let's take it as now. If @age is greater than 18, let's begin it and let's print age is let's see how it goes. So it's a straightforward, simple statement, which actually checks for age if it is greater than 18. If it is if this condition is true, as in other words, if this condition is satisfied. Sorry.
We shall discuss.
Mr. Ganda Babu Naidu, please keep it on to mute. So if this condition is really satisfies on itself, so then it's gonna display that age is greater than 18, or it's just gonna say whatever the thing that I've defined in the else part. So it says age is not greater than 18, which actually did something like this compares the condition that which I've passed on. So let me pass on some 25. Its age is greater than 18. So behind this, I can execute like multiple number of statements. So this says if I pass on 25, which is actually age is greater than 18, and it prints employee details, which is this, and it has printed age is greater than 18. So this is the message that we got from if else statement. So same thing can be projected into a stored procedure. So let's say I'm gonna use same query instead of age. We'll use ID for previous procedure that we created. For this, let me comment out all my previous stuff. So here, I don't want the row count as well. Here, it is my ID that is being passed. So which is of @ID. So this is the input parameter that I've got in here, @ID. If ID is greater than, let's say, some 500, I would like to say the employee is new employee. In a consideration that my employee IDs will be getting incremented on every insertion, and the lowest being the old one. The first employee got the ID number 1, and the last employee, which are like the 5,000th employee, got the employee ID of 5,000. I'm just gonna say if the employee ID is greater than 500, it is gonna say that he's a sorry, it's old employee. If it sorry, it is new actually. If it is greater than 500, it's new employee and displays the employee details. If it is less than 500, it just says employee is old. For this, I would need my alter to be executed, just executed. And I would like to execute this particular statement. It says, I've given my employee ID as 1, which is actually and it says the employee ID is old, which is of A. A is the employee name. So are we clear on this? Okay, good to go.
Clear now.
Okay, this is a if and else block. So if statement that we'll be using, and correspondingly else also. So this can be used with all the Boolean conditions that can be worked on. So whatever the condition, it returns a Boolean value. Let's say age greater than 18 or salary greater than so and so value, and date less than your birth date, if you want to find out who's older than you. So this is how the if and else come into picture. So whatever we do with print statement, that is gonna put under messages output window. Rest of the other things put into normal output window. What if you want to use nested ifs? So let's say I want to check for another condition inside my if condition. Let's say here, if age is greater than 18, I want to print if age is greater than 18. And the same way, I don't want this now. And again, if I want to check the same way, inside the if, I'm writing the if age is greater than some 60. So I want to check if the passed on ages of senior citizen or something. So then I will mention that. This can be done like in some other ways, that is begin and as well as end. Inside that, the value that I wanted to show. So I would like to print say senior. If the past age is greater than 18, he would obviously be greater than 18 age. And if it is also greater than 60, then it will be printed with he's a senior citizen. Let's execute this. Age is greater than 18, but I did not get any of the whether he's a senior or a junior. Let's say else also to mention whether he's a senior citizen or not. Let's begin this and let's end, and in between, let's bring that. Junior. Let's execute. His age is past age is greater than 18, and he's a junior. So let me pass on 65. It says he's senior. If I pass on 10, what it says, it is not greater than 18. So this is how nested if and else also works. Even in the else part, you can write whatever you want. Even you can mention the nested if else again in the else. So this is about if else, one of the thing in control blocks, and we have something called while. While is the one which actually pretty much straightforward. Which actually works in such a way that while true, like let me say this as a condition result, while condition if this condition is true, this will be keep on executing. So let's say while I'll take the same example, get ready. I would do declare that this is and while condition. So what it actually does is while this condition is true, it is going to display like repeat over and over and over again and again. So until this condition get to false, this will be keep on executing. So this if else will be like a control flow statement which is of having only two possibilities, either if condition or the else condition. This while condition is like kind of loop that is going to execute on and on until the condition gets to false. Instead of age, I would do some number. Let's try. And I mentioned it to like I've set that value to number value to 10, and I would like to check. I would like to print the value still number of 10, still till the number 10. So I would like to print in such a way that 1, 2, 3, and so on till the number I pass on. So this is kind of can be done only with the loop. That is how, let's say the number 10, which is actually given as in the range of the number. It is a range till 10. I want the details, and I want one more variable to print it off. Let's say that as a counter. Let's declare that. And set counter to, let's say, 0. Just because I want to store the values from 0 to 10. And here I want to check if my counter is less than that of number. So what is this? What this does is that if my counter is less than the past number, which is of 10, then it is gonna enter into this particular begin and else block, which is completely like the set of statements that we define to execute if the particular condition is true. So if that condition is true, I want to print my counter value, and I want to increment my counter by 1. For that, I would be using set command is equals to whatever the counter value already present, added by 1. So let's execute. What it says: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Till 9, it has displayed. That is because we have here condition called counter less than number. It is this the less than until my counter variable, which is like a temporary variable to hold my current number and to display it from 0 to the range that I given as a number. So it is just the less than. If I take it as less than or equal to, what it gives, it will give till 10. Here we go. So this is how the while loop actually works. So while followed by the condition, whether it can be like true or false, whatever the result it could be. If it is true, it's gonna enter, and if it is false, it's gonna just exit out of the loop and come on to the next statement. So coming for our example, for the first time the counter is 0, and it checks whether the counter, which is of value 0, is less than or equal to number 0 less than or equal to 10. Obviously it is true. Then print and counter sets to +1, and the counter will be 1. Again come here, 1 less than or equal to 10, print again, counter incremented by 2. So same way it goes like till number 9, counter incremented by 1, it goes to 10, 10 less than or equal to 10, which is true, and print the counter and increment by 1. Again it will be like the next value will be 11, and goes to check the condition. 11 is less than or equal to 10, which is completely false, then get out of the loop. So this is how it works. And what if I want to skip few of the numbers. So how I should be doing that? For that only, we have some statements called break and continue. So break is a keyword where I want to break my execution process, and continue is the statement where I want to skip the rest of the statements inside the loop and continue with the next counter value in the loop. So for that, I'm gonna demonstrate with the same one. So printing my counter value, odd or even numbers, it works with any number. Just has to be like condition has to pass, that's it. If you want to print only even numbers, you just add this counter value with 2, that's it, it's gonna work. So I want to say that after printing my counter, let's see with one of the example that I don't want to print the number 4. If it is the value 4 inside my range 0 to 10, I don't want to print the 4. For that, what I will be doing, if @counter, which is of my counter variable, is equals to 4, I say continue. Let's execute and see what it actually does. It went on to infinite loop. That is because here we mentioned if the counter value is 4, I'm going to say continue. But we did not let's say increment our counter value by 1. So it's going to check the number, it's actually 4 and come in, it is counter 4, and we mentioned skip, and it actually goes on this way only. To overcome this, I'm going to put my counter value to here, which saves me from infinite looping. Let's execute this. Here, 1, 2, 3, and 4 is skipped, and 5 we got here, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So this is how the continue work. So I've mentioned just that what is if the counter value is 4, I'm just going to skip it. Skip the rest of the lines inside the loop. So if I have multiple statements as in search, these all statements will be skipped after the continue statement. I want to restrict the user to get till only number 7. Whatever the number he pass on, I wanted to get him only 7. So for that, what I would like to do is that, let's get back this to normal one. If the counter is 7, I would like to break my loop and then itself. So whatever the conditions being passed, so rest and all will not be executed, and then the control will be get out of the loop. Let's execute this. Here 0 to 6, but my number passed is 10. You give 100 here. It doesn't care. It just gives only till 6. So that is because we mentioned here that if the counter matches to 7, break the loop and then. So this is about break and continue. And we have error handling. The small thing that completely very much useful one in writing stored procedures. For error handling, we have several statements that, as I discussed like in earlier, whatever the things which are possibly to raise the error, that we will be mentioning in the try block. You might have heard in any of the other programming languages saying try block, catch block, and finally block or whatever. So for this, we would write try and catch. Try is to try block will actually hold statements which are possibly to raise the error. Let's say 10 divided by 0. This statement will obviously raise the error. Let's execute this and see what it says. Divided by 0, error occurred. So for these kind of errors, that we will be going to put under try block. Let's say try begin and try end. Inside this, I would like to print error occurred. Incorrect syntax, very damaged. Or it is just this try and then the basic syntax. Oh, here I did the mistake. It is just try, begin try and end try. Begin catch and end catch. Let's execute this. So previously I got an error saying divided by 0 error. So what I will be getting now? Let's go to messages. It is saying error occurred. So that is a predefined message I'm defined here. So to make it very clear, error occurred track session, which is a user-defined error message that I've given. So this is a possibility that select the number divided by 0, obviously gonna give my given runtime error. So saying divided by 0 error occurred. So to overcome this, whatever the things that we are suspect of raising an error, that we will be keeping under try block, which is of this begin try and end try. And if any of the error rises, then we will use catch block to capture that error and do necessary actions. So here divided by 0 is not possible. So if my user has given this particular value as 0, so that's not possible, then I would say give number other than 0. So this is an informative message that can be like displayed to user. This is a like simple try catch block. We can do nested try catch blocks. So we can do try catch inside the catch as well. So that is like so this is how we can also do this. So this is just one. So here we given one try. The try is ended here, and we have catch block, which actually does print some value. And then again, I'm trying to do some other operations inside this. So that's where I can put this as well. Inside catch again, I could try catch, and inside the try also I can do the same thing. Nested try catch we call it. And this can also be done, and Any other things that we missed out with catch, try catch things? And we have like several number of what it called predefined system messages that can be displayed. Let's get back to normal one and I'll show you this thing. So I want to get other information as well from predefined messages of what you call as SMS. So for this, this would say error message is that error number, which is that what is the number of it and what is the severity of it when we rise the error and what is the state of the error. There are multiple states, and error line is that what is the line, the line number where the error is being raised, and what is the procedure in which the error is being raised, and what is the error message. So let's try and get in this. I don't think this is gonna work unless we try it in a procedure. But yes, we did get it. So error number is 8134. This is something that we have one more table, which is like system defined. All the messages that are being stored in that particular message, in that particular table. So I would say whatever the error message that we define or that we actually available already in the error message table that can be get through this particular table, what is called with the error message ID and name as well. We can insert few of the user-defined names and user-defined errors with the user-defined number and severity, error state, and error line, whatever is possible. So error line is 3. That is because I've selected from here. Let me select from here. This should show that my error line as 2. So the line at which the error occurred, this will be the particular error line. And the procedure is that if we are executing this particular thing inside the procedure, that time we will get this procedure name as well. And error message is that the error that has been occurred in the try block. Are we clear till now? Yep, thank you. And we have one more thing called I just said right. We have one more table to define error messages and all stuff. That is this table. Spelling mistakes again. Let's see what this returns. It has defined with multiple error messages being added into it with every other values associated with it. So what if I want to raise my own error instead of this all errors that I've displayed in the previous one? So this is a system defined one, which is like divided by 0 error, which we can see in here, which is divided by 0 error. Instead of that, I want to get my own error, like my own user defined style. So for that, I would have to insert one particular row into sys.messages table, and then use what you called the function called raise error. For this, with this, I could actually raise an error whenever I want. Let's say, let's get one of the error messages. Let's say raise error of 21. And let's select into output window, or just try to execute what it goes. says incorrect syntax. Why is it so? And we did not pass any of the severity and the level on we can say state and level. Let's pass that as well. Error. This is the one, the number 21 is invalid. Number should be between 13,000 to this particular number. Let's say that as well. I would say some 15,000. Let's execute this. Severity 1 was raised and so on, so on, so on, so. So I'd like to keep this raise error method inside like what is say we'll continue for another 5 minutes. With that, I could actually complete try catch and raise errors as well. I'll take it as this. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so this is how. What's the message? Okay, this is how the raise error would actually work. So unless like whatever the things that I do on inside my try, when I want to raise the error, I would just say raise error function and followed by my error message and severity and field. So it will obviously it will next go to the catch block and say error raised. So I'm going to execute this. I just want to say that inside my try, I try to raise an error, which obviously tries to catch inside the catch block and displays it. It says command completed successfully. So it's just that it works in this way. Yes. Are we clear so far? Okay, that's great. This is up with the exception handling inside the procedures. And we have one more, a small concept called dynamic SQL. So for that, we have, so have you got a clear idea of how the parameters are taken and how it actually works while we assign something to a new table or just to compare the values on whatever. So there is one particular procedure. Where did it go? There's another one. This is the particular procedure, SP_execute SQL, which actually takes whatever the past statement and that executes the values. So let's say we have now employee table EMPLOYTE. Let's execute this. Whatever the details that are present in the employee table, that's we displayed here. So instead of this, I want to show you something like a kind of different one. I would like to declare one variable to hold my particular table name, which is of table name, and I would like to set it to set at the table name is equals to employee. And here I would remove this and concatenate with my table name. So what did we do here? I've just created one variable with the table name, and I set my table name to employee, and I've formatted one string which forms actually let's start from table name employee. So which actually forms that particular select request and then executes with the help of sp underscore execute SQL table execute procedure. Let's execute this and see what it says. Declare the value, set at table name. What did we miss here? Right arrow 25, the data type that we missed here. Let's execute this. What did we do here? The wrong one. Yep, just a moment. I guess something I'm missing here. I did not terminate this, and I would like to keep it with Unicode. For that, I would mention N and any other things that I missed. I don't think I missed anything. Let's try executing this. Again, we got an error. So let me restructure this.
వ్యాక్యార్
Sorry,
నా వ్యాక్యార్ దగ్గర ఏమన్నా
I don't think anything is available at the backend. Let's say this as SQL. I want to form the query inside this. So let me try this way. So let's start from employee. I would like to take this, which is of some 50 characters at max. I guess we have only 50 characters. And I'd like to execute stop procedure with this particular value. And incorrect syntax near sp execute SQL. Let's see. Let's try. I don't know if this works. It should actually work. Well, we have some problem. Just a moment. Oh, I did not mention that the command that to execute the stored procedure, which is exec. So the whatever things that we did in the earlier that are actually completely true statements. Okay, what it says, statement of type, procedure expects, okay, which is of, it should be of n varchar. That is because it expects n varchar, index or anything. So n varchar, which actually takes 2 bytes of memory to store a particular character, I would mention this. This is how it works. If I want to do another one, let's say declare, and I would like to mention table here, and I'd like to set my table to it's called employee, which is again a unique code. To mention that, I would mention this, and I should take off this, and with this I should be able to get my what I call, let's see if it works, or else we need to restructure our query. Incorrect syntax in your class. So the Unicodes are not concatenated here, so I will concatenate in. See, there are two temporary tables, sorry, two temporary variables that I've taken, and one is being table and another is being rest of the query, and I'm trying to execute this. It gives the same value of select staff from employee. So this is how the dynamic queries actually work. So you need to use SPNS for execute as equals stored procedure to execute all the queries that are the query that being passed in the form of parameter. So I guess we have completed all the things of stored procedure concept. I guess we have left with one more thing, cursors, that I will be telling tomorrow. Let me stop the recording here. And any doubts, guys?